mattered in the least. It was that my cousins were gone. Raised practically as siblings, the boys and I had never before spent Christmas apart. This year, Colm was in Torquay, a mechanic at the RAF base there, and Toby was... well, we still didn't know where Toby was. Every day that passed without word chiselled away a little bit of our store of hope that he had survived at Dunkirk. We had all tried to be merry in their honour. Nacy, the housekeeper who had raised us with as much love as any mother ever had for her own children, prepared her famous spiced punch and Christmas pudding. We sang carols, Uncle Mick's lovely baritone ringing cheerfully through the house. We'd even played a few games as we sat around the fire, and there had been a rousing speech from the King on the wireless. But it had been difficult all the same, and a part of me was glad it was over. Perhaps next year the boys would be home. Perhaps next year the war would be over and we could truly celebrate. All these thoughts weighed on me as I listlessly stirred the porridge Nacy had made for breakfast that morning. She made the best porridge in all the world, even with the tightness of rationing, but I'd found the turmoil of my emotions had left me with very little appetite the past few weeks. I'd done my best to hide this from Nacy, but she was not an easy woman to fool. Wasting food was a sin in our family, even before the war, so I had tried to conceal my decreased appetite by taking smaller portions and eating as much of them as I could. I was chewing a small bite and glancing listlessly at Uncle Mick's paper across the table when a headline caught my eye. Daring dinner party robbery. My interest piqued. I read the article across the table. A dinner party at the Mayfair home of diplomat, nightclub owner and noted man about town Nico Lazaro was the scene of a surprising incident this past Friday. The meal, luxurious by all accounts, was disturbed not by Luftwaffe bombers, but by a gang of hold-up men who stormed into the house demanding valuables from the startled guests. Present at the feast were such notables as the Countess of Mulford, who was relieved of an emerald necklace, and acclaimed actor Daniel West, who is now short one pair of gold cufflinks. Scotland Yard is investigating and intends to quickly take the thieves into custody. Society cannot be allowed to crumble during wartime. After all, when we have prevailed and our country is once again free of the threat of tyranny, citizens must be assured that law and order will prevail. I frowned, read the article again. That was odd. Not the robbery in itself, though something about it did seem a bit strange. What struck me as curious was that while we were certainly not friendly with every criminal in London, we should have heard rumours of something along this scale. We knew most of the best thieves in London, being among the best ourselves. Criminals were not, of course, wont to take one another into their confidence, but rumours spread. The theft of jewellery from a countess and a famous actor was the type of thing people in our circles would talk about. "Did you hear anything about that?" I asked Uncle Mick, pointing at the paper. He folded the newspaper and looked at the article. "I read about it." "No, I mean, did you hear anything about it? Through the usual channels?" "Can't say that I did, Ellie girl." He looked up at me with a grin. "I'm not exactly in the centre of things at the moment. Word has spread that your old Uncle Mick has taken to the straight and narrow, and it's brought me down a bit in the estimation of some of our associates." We hadn't committed a burglary, indeed a major crime of any kind, since we'd begun working with military intelligence. My involvement in the dangers of espionage work had given me the thrills that thieving had once provided. But I sometimes wondered if Uncle Mick missed his old way of life. He'd been at it for a lot longer than I had, after all. He had long-time associates, even close friends in that world. For the first time, it occurred to me how difficult it must have been for him to turn his back on all of it.